Someone points a camera at you and something happens. Your stomach tightens. You step to the side. You say, no, not me. And later, when everyone's sharing photos from the night, you're relieved yours didn't make it online. If that's you, stay with me. By the end of this, you'll finally understand something about yourself that goes much deeper than shyness. You're not vain in reverse, you're not antisocial, and you're definitely not broken. What's actually going on in your head is a specific psychological pattern, and once you see it clearly, a lot of other things about you will start to make sense too. Let's start with what most people assume. They think people who avoid posting photos just have low self-esteem. They're insecure about how they look. And while that can play a role, it almost never tells the whole story. Because plenty of people who are genuinely confident about their appearance still refuse to post, still duck away from cameras, still feel deeply uncomfortable being seen online. So if it's not just insecurity, what is it? It's about control. Specifically, the loss of it. When someone takes your photo and posts it, your image is now out there without your permission, without your context, without your narrative. Anyone can see it. Anyone can screenshot it. Anyone can judge it. And here's the thing, you have zero say in any of that. For people with high autonomy sensitivity, a psychological trait linked to strong internal boundaries and a need for self-determination, this loss of control over how you're perceived feels genuinely threatening. Not dramatic, not irrational, threatening. This usually connects back to something earlier, because high autonomy sensitivity doesn't develop in a vacuum. It often shows up in people who, at some point, learned that being seen came with consequences. Maybe you were embarrassed publicly as a child. Maybe your appearance was commented on, positively or negatively, in ways that made you feel like an object being evaluated. Maybe you were in an environment where oversharing had real social costs. Whatever the origin, your nervous system learned a lesson. Visibility is risk. But here's where it gets interesting, because this isn't just about photos, it's about identity ownership. Psychologists studying digital self-presentation have found that the people most resistant to posting photos are also the ones with the clearest, most developed internal sense of self. They know who they are. They don't need external validation to feel real. And because of that, the idea of reducing a complex, living person down to a curated image, a frozen moment designed for likes, feels fundamentally false. It doesn't represent them. It represents a performance of them. And that gap between who they are and what a photo suggests they are feels dishonest in a way they can't just scroll past. And this is the part that explains everything. The discomfort isn't about the camera, it's about the audience. An invisible crowd of people you can't see, reacting in ways you can't control, forming impressions you can't correct. For people who are highly attuned to social perception, which often goes hand in hand with high empathy and social intelligence, that invisible audience never really goes away. You post a photo and you can feel the eyes, even when you're not looking. If you're nodding right now, this next part is for you. That discomfort you feel isn't weakness. It's actually a signal of something sophisticated, a strong internal boundary between your private self and your public self. Most people don't even know that boundary exists. You feel it every time someone points a camera at you. Here's what nobody tells people like you. In a world built on performative visibility, where people post constantly to feel real, to be validated, to prove they exist, choosing not to perform is actually a form of psychological strength. It means you don't need the feed to confirm your identity. You already know who you are without it. That's not antisocial. That's self-possession. And in an age of chronic oversharing, it's genuinely rare. So if you've spent years feeling like something was wrong with you because you don't want your face online, nothing is wrong with you. You're someone with strong internal boundaries, a clear sense of self, and a healthy resistance to reducing yourself to content. The world calls it antisocial. Psychology calls it something else entirely. And next week, we're going deep on why people who feel deeply uncomfortable in groups aren't introverts. There's something more specific and more interesting than that. You'll want to catch that one.